Women say to be bold and take risks. Women say what they feel and mean what they say. Yeah. Believe in your power, so much power. Yeah. Where women share, women share.
Well, just like that, we are back. It's another Thursday. How is everybody doing? Welcome. Vault Talks Women Share. We're in the building on the platform. Super excited to be here. I literally was getting ready for the show and I was like, God, I've missed the show. Like, when was the last time we were on? And I was like, last week. Wow. Like, literally.
A moment there.
I did. I think it was a really long week this week. Like, super long.
Yeah, it was.
Happy Friday, Junior, as people started saying, whatever that means for real. Because Thursday don't sound nothing like no Friday. I'm just saying, never had, never will. But for those of you
who nothing like it,
don't feel nothing like it. You still got deadlines to hit if you work a 9 to 5. Some
virtual learning in the morning, like it ain't Friday yet.
I don't have those words. Hallelujah. No chilling over here. But for those of you who may be just tuning in to Vault Talks Women Share for the first time, welcome to our show. We're super excited to have you. There's a lot of things you can be doing on a Thursday night, or you may be catching this on the replay, or you may be in another country because we do have international viewers. Yay. But Vault Talks Women Share is a platform full of empowerment where women come to this very platform to learn and share and just chat about their world. It's indeed on this platform where you'll hear us talk about love. On the fourth Thursdays, you'll hear us talk about relationships. Hey, I'm sorry. Fashion, sisterhood, and ways to be empowered as women as a whole. So, Liz, Lady Liz, that is. Oh, that rhymed. I feel like the cat in the hat. Lady Liz, what's going on in your world, sister girl? Oh, my God.
I'm just making sure that I am on my P's and Q's. I'm over here trying to balance life out when it comes to work and having a baby. So we're still working that out. You know, it's a trial and error. And you find some things that work for you that day. And thank God I am no longer hurt. I have recovered from my injury.
Your workout injury.
To know that I can pick up the baby now and it does not hurt. No tingling. So honestly, I've just been trying to catch up with the weeks prior and just getting everything the way that I need and you know, getting some business done and, you know, getting some clients up. So I'm happy. I'm excited.
Sure. Okay, Liz. Okay, Isha, the influencer, what you got going on in your world?
Look, like I mentioned, this virtual learning that is a virtual headache for me, but, you know, working that in to everything that I have going on. I'm excited about the workbook and, you know, working with you to get the course going. So putting that in motion, I am just trying to, like Liz was saying, just balancing out everything and learning that routine, like the power of that routine and getting things in order. Still trying to get these rings closed every day. Liz been on it. So, you know,
I'm about to knock mine out after this.
Yeah. So
I need to hop in the game somewhere up through there. Maybe next week.
Absolutely.
I'll find the cord to charge the watch. I think that'll be the first step. And then maybe the next week I'll really hop in the game. So we'll see how that works. No?
You're not going to do right. You're not going to do right. But yeah, put that thing on the charger and we can start over first thing October.
There we go.
I'm good with that. Look, so in my world, for those of you who don't know, I call myself the identity architect and coach. And so literally I've been diving into book world. Literally, I have clients that want journals and books. So I've really been excited about just teaching people the power of sharing their story. So I have a book camp. It's a 12-week book camp. You learn all the ins and outs of self-publishing. So that's what I've been really focusing on, and some other things up my sleeve. But you'll see on Black Friday very soon. Got 2 things up my sleeves coming out Black Friday. Really excited about the women I've been working with. One of them being Isha the influencer, and a cast of other women. We have I'll just let the cat slightly out the bag. We have some self-help resources that are coming out on Black Friday. Super excited about just women coming together, compiling their stories on this book and how they've overcome different situations within their lives. So if anybody doesn't know, I really focus on helping people get their stories out in the form of a children's book and also a non-fictional book. So that's been my world lately, with among making jewelry and other things. But really excited to be back on the show. It seems like literally it's been 2 weeks, but it's only been a week. And it's always a pleasure coming to the show when it's all things relationships. He said, she said, they share is one of the hottest segments that we have on Vault Talks Women Share. We have 2 dynamic men who are going to be coming to the stage here shortly, being able to jump in with us women and give the male's perspective on some of these things that women always talk about, but it's always good to hear it from the men. So Jerome Johnson and Levi Lawrence III will be hopping in here in a minute. We're really excited about that. But before we go any further, quiet, it's quote time. All right, Isha, you ready?
I am ready. Are y'all ready?
We are never ready. You know.
All right. So this one is real simple this week, but it kind of, make you go deep with it. So the quote is, true commitment isn't seasonal.
Talk about packing punch.
Talking about
Yeah. So true commitment isn't seasonal. Where I was coming from with this one is that, like, when you think in terms of commitment, you think of that long term, that longevity, and throughout time things happen, things arise. And are you really truly committed when those seasons change? So when the money funny, or when people just in those moods and not acting right, or whatever may happen or come up in a relationship, are you willing to stick it out and see it through? So I was coming from with that. What you got, Liz?
Honestly, I can go based off of friendships because those are my longest relationships.
Okay.
And it is, no matter the ups and the downs, the goods and the bads, the rights or the wrongs, there's a compromise that comes with the commitment that you actually put into a relationship. I think that if you're able to give all of yourself to that friendship, or when we give all of ourselves to that person, that comes with being honest, being open, communicating, all of these things, these loyalties that comes behind it. And it's not something that should be taken lightly, but I think people carry it around, like they toss it around like the word friendship. Sometimes they just toss it out there, or the word love, because they think that they're doing it. But you learn some lessons. Those are seasonal. Those lessons come around per season, if not in a bunch throughout that season. So I think that true commitment is something where you're giving all of yourself. You're not expecting anything back in return. You're not in a place where it's like conditional either.
Yeah.
You're really putting yourself out there, and you're saying, look, this is who I am. love me or hate me, but this is who I am, and this is my commitment to you as a friend, because that means I'm going to go above and beyond. And I think that I didn't think that I was a great friend until someone came to me and said, look, you show up. You show up time and time again, and you show up when people don't think that you're going to show up. That's how I know that your commitment to me is, above and beyond, out of this world, and I think that those friendships, those relationships right there are what make me push even harder and allows me to see okay, I must be doing something right. But if you don't have those conversations, because sometimes we tend to get so lost in the sauce, we're doing our own thing, life comes up, we get into a routine, and then we're just like in that routine. We're not thinking too much beyond that. But I think if we're able to sit down and take the time out and have those conversations that need to be had, that's what's really going to test the time. And it's no longer seasonal. It's more of a, how do you say, infinity and beyond.
Okay, Buzz.
Right. But not Star Trek but it's something that you don't even see as a season. It's something that is just grounded within you, because that's the foundation that you started with in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. That's good. Mr. Cara Nicole, what you got?
Okay, so I guess the first word that jumped and leaped in my spirit when I was reading this and kept listening to it was unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
When you're committed to someone, or you're committed to, I'll say someone, really, since we're talking about relationships, that love is unconditional, that support should be unconditional, that commitment should be unconditional. And I believe that's something that's taught more than anything, because in this world, we have a lot of cliches that we tend to pick up and live on, not knowing that is not what we should be living by. Like forgive and forget. When you're in a committed relationship, you that whole forgive and forget, that's a process. No one teaches you that that's a process. It doesn't come overnight. That's something that you literally have to work on and work towards. So when I think of true commitment isn't seasonal, your love isn't seasonal, your support shouldn't be seasonal,
right.
Your commitment to someone shouldn't be seasonal. So if y'all high, y'all, even high on life, let me rephrase. If you're
I was wondering where it was going, but
rephrase that, because high is doing a lot of states now, so let's rephrase that. If you're high on life with this person, you should learn how to not drop that high when things are low. So if you guys are on the same playing field, somebody need to lift up somebody. So I think about that a lot. Just being able to really position yourself when you're in a relationship, because it's not all about you anymore.
Right.
It's about the person and you. Self-care is still huge. That's really important. Let's focus on that. However, when you're in a committed relationship, I think we're going to talk about what that even means here in a few minutes, which I'm so excited about. But anyways, it's about balance. It's about learning that every season is not going to be a winning season. And how are you going to express your love and express your support when everything isn't going to be going your way? So you can't cop out when things aren't going your way. You can't back off when you ain't getting anything. It's not your season to be winning in every area. It might be your partner's season to be winning in every area, but when he wins, you win. If you view yourself like that. That's that whole committed relationship stuff that I hope we dig in to a little bit later with the gentleman. But understanding what season means and understanding what commitment means. So I like to break things down, like just understanding what true means, understanding what commitment means. I'm going to take out the word isn't and understand seasonal. That's just the way I look at words.
Yeah, that's good. And understanding that the seasons do come, like things change. I think a lot of people get stuck in that, honeymoon phase, and they just want to stay there, and they're not really prepared for what comes after that, and they're not really equipped or really know what to do when those things come. So probably the first inkling is to run, or,
Right.
I don't want to deal with it. It's easier to not deal with it than to face it head on. So, just learning how to stay and work through things. That's just a big part of commitment itself. It's just like, can you weather these storms? Like, it's a season, and we have to think about relationships and life the same way. I mean, things are not, like you said, you're not going to always be in a winning season. You're not going to always be up. But when you are not, what are you equipped to handle those, cold seasons when it comes to your relationship?
And it's good you say that like that, and then we're going to transition, because you just reminded me what the older folks say when you're, they don't even say dating, they say courting. Baby, it's good to see someone in all seasons. You'd be like,
yeah.
What does that even look like? So immediately we think about, fall, spring, summer, we want them to break that down. And so, seeing somebody when they're unemployed, what do they look like? Seeing somebody when, someone dies in their family, how do they react? How are they moving when you're moving and they're not? Are they jealous? Are they envious? Being able to see all that, especially when you're talking about coming together and being one, is really important. But we belabored the time. I think we warmed up the floor enough for these gentlemen. We're going to bring them on in. First of all, we got Jerome Johnson in the house. He's family. He don't need no introduction. Jerome in the house. Jerome.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, it's been a while, bro. How are you?
I know. It's been a while. I'm good. As a lot of you all have said, I'm adjusting. You would think months in the game, you've been adjusted by now, but I'm still adjusting to everything. So, I'm adjusting.
So, you definitely adjusted. You a teacher. You a high school teacher now. Come on with it.
Hey. So, we're my school is actually hybrid. So, we're in the building and we're virtual. So, it's a lot, but I mean,
virtual is something else, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. I actually struggle more with my virtual classes than I do the in-person children. So
I can imagine. And then we cannot leave out this person here. We got Levi Lawrence III coming up to the party.
What's happening?
What's going on? We are so happy to have you guys on the panel for tonight's discussion. For you guys who do not know who Levi Lawrence III is, he is a man of many hats. He is freaking hilarious. You gotta follow him on Instagram, and he will be able to give out all his pluggers a little bit later. Tell the people, since it's your first time on the platform, a little bit about you.
Well, hello everybody. Again, my name is Levi Lawrence III. First of all, I want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But I guess in a nutshell, I am a USAF, United States Air Force vet. I'm a father, husband. I'm a full-time business owner. I'm known now as a master consultant, and I own a networking organization that's also a professional fundraiser called Illuvione. So, I'll talk. Don't open up the window too long.
Oh, we're gonna open the window all the way up. Go ahead and come on through the window.
You better crawl on in.
Come on in. Come on, sir. Share with people what Illuvione really is, because I love your heart behind this mission.
Okay, so I created Illuvione because I wanted to bring all walks of life under one house. So no matter what profession that you're in, there's a place, our annual event, that we want you to come and build your network, because your network is your net worth, and just grow and try new things, whether it's starting your first business or starting your seventh, or investing into someone, or investing into the youth, which brings me to the other primary mission that we have within Illuvione, which is giving towards our youth. I started the Illuvione Gives Back program, which gives back our Illuvione Business Boot Camp, which teaches everybody, period, but we give it to everybody that's free under the age of 21, how to create their own businesses. So I have 12-year-olds that have created juice companies. I have a 6-year-old that has her own app now, and there's things that we push, just breaking the overall standard that is today, and making sure that they increase their standard, increase their expectations on life, what they should have, what they should know, what they should own, and that's a movie on it.
That's so awesome. That's so
It
awesome.
is.
So we're super excited to have you here for many reasons. It's good to have men who are open to talking about things, especially relationships, because you have a lot of men that talk about it from a hidden perspective, where they don't want to disclose everything because they're going to get it from the dudes because they giving all the juice and all that. So we created this He Said, She Said segment to be able to come together and literally be able to just air it out, leave it on the table, and just to be real and raw. So it's really important for us to have these conversations because a lot of times they're not being held at all, or they are, and it's not from a healthy standpoint. So this platform is making sure that we come together to create unity and to just really be transparent about different things that people question, that they don't want to bring up for whatever reasons. And what I love about this platform is that we're all millennials here. And so millennials bring another spin perspective. May not always be valued in the world, but they'll see one day when they look back and be like, man, those darn millennials, they sure did a whole lot of stuff. And but a lot of people are realizing that even now too. But anyways, so Isha, this is your show in reference to her Love for Real segment that she airs every fourth Thursday. And she came up with the topic of defining commitment. And me and Liz were like, ooh, let's go. So with that being said, I forgot to load the questions, but that's okay. I know where to find them. I'm like, I'm loading everything else. Oh, I didn't load the questions. All right, so we're going to start with the bonus question. How should you deal with a partner who has commitment issues?
Juicy.
We're going to jump all the way in. Let's go. How do you deal with a partner who has commitment issues?
Is it like we taking turns? Are we just talking?
We're gonna let the guest take it first.
Is that what you think?
Look.
What's poppin'?
Whatever you like.
Look, let them go. Look, we just keep it 100 with it. And if somebody has commitment issues, then that person is not for you. If you are the one that really wants to be with that person and you're doing whatever it is within your power and your society that you're building with that person to show that you are committed, that you fully appreciate that person, and not giving the same thing to you, kick them. No, I want to curse. Kick them out. Kick them out. They gotta go. Get them out of here.
That's how you want that. Kick rocks and keep it pushing.
That's right. That's
right. So just like that, they out the door. So you're not giving no chances. No, nothing.
Look, I mean, so if you're somebody that's just vibing, right? You meet somebody and the energy is right, the spirits is right, and y'all are building something, but that person clearly doesn't see or value the spirit that you have to the point where they still want to connect with some other people. And if that's not the way that you want it, and you voice that and you say, hey, like, I really like you. I like the vibe that you bring. I love your spirit. And I want us to build something. I'm not interested in anybody else. But they're like, you know what? That's cool. But I'm kind of out here just doing my thing. All right, cool. Well, do your thing. That's cool. And then, we'll be friends. Put you in the friend zone and we'll be cool. If you don't want to be friends, then, get gone. But I just don't feel like anybody should waste their time. If that's what you're looking for, if you are interested in building a relationship with somebody and you're not that type of person to openly hang out with other people, whether it be the same sex or the opposite sex, depending on who you are, then let that be known. That's proper communication right there.
Yeah, and it's just a form of wasting time. Definitely, you have commitment issues. Don't bring nobody into that position to get hurt in the long run because you ain't got your stuff together. Don't bring nobody else in because it's just pretty much wasting time. Like if you know you're not about that life, don't pretend like you are, because when it's time to actually make that commitment and you waste the time. So I definitely think that if I could, of course with age, you sense that people come and you see that they're on that BS, you be like, nah, I'm good for you. So just like you said, let them go, ride out. I'm at that age right now. I have no more time to waste. We have no more time to waste at this point on.
We ain't getting no younger. We're getting older.
That part.
I think the thing is that those conversations are not really had, especially in the beginning. So you vibing with a person or whatever, you like them, and a couple months go by. So we are so, I guess, finicky in the beginning of the relationship, not really knowing what to say, when to say, and how to say it because you don't want to run the other person off. So those types of conversations of, I'm into you, you can't see anybody else. It's like, I don't want to come on too strong in the beginning. So that's how you end up 6, 7, a year into a relationship and you're still uncovering my partner has issues with commitment because we don't have those conversations.
I agree. I definitely think
yeah,
for sure issue.
Yeah, and now that just the way dating is set up, it's all jacked up. Is difficult to date in this decade. It's just the true definition of commitment was back in the baby boomers time or maybe Gen Xers. But now, like millennials, they got situationships and all this bull crap. Like, situationship, like what? I really thought Usher would have done a song about that by now.
That's just a new name for it. It's not situationship anymore. It's
entanglement now.
Entanglement.
Like all these things to further confuse us to literally understanding what a true commitment is. And I think that if we didn't have proper role models in our lives to show us what commitment was, like my grandparents before my grandfather died, they were married for like 52 years. You know what I'm saying? That's a long time. Now, did they have their issues? Every married couple does, but they were committed to each other no matter what. They stuck together. We don't do that now. You make me mad, go sleep in the man cave for 5 days. Don't talk to me. Don't cross over into my side of the house. All these things that, where do we get this stuff from? And to me personally, this is just my opinion. I think a lot of stuff comes from TV. If you think about the good wholesome shows that we had growing up, Family Matters was a really good one. The Huxtables showing, commitment, wholesome families. Now, you can have sex on TV. You can have a girl and a girl can have sex. All these different things that really confuse not just our generation, but the generations coming up, after us about what real commitment looks like. So.
But honestly, we grew up in that. I'm pretty sure we're all around the same age. We grew up in that where being a player and was a popular thing to do. Like it was frowned upon if you actually had a committed relationship with people. So it's like, oh yeah, how many you got? I mean, you just being honest, like how many people talking to? It's like we were literally collecting numbers under our belts. Like man, but that was that generation. We were like teenagers. It was cool to be a player, cool to talk to multiple people at the same time. So it was like it goes back to what the theme is tonight: defining commitment. Like what is people's true definition of what commitment is, and that displays in their behavior. So it's like whatever my definition is, I will act off of that. So it's, I'm not saying it's a whole millennial thing because you do have millennials that love to commit, but on the flip side of things, you can't expect them to commit to a relationship when they're having issues committing to themselves and careers. It's just too much to expect from people, but that's just the truth of the matter is that commitment is a major issue across the board, not only in relationships, but just in multiple areas. You know, like some people I know, I only work this job for 2 years. I work this job to get where I want, and with that millennial mindset, I want to start at the top instead of going up the ladder to get to the top. It's just like if I don't get what I want in a certain amount of time, I'm out of there. So it's like there's no major commitment across the board, if you ask me. But that's just okay.
And playing off of what you said, Jerome, I mean, honestly, I've known some people who have had the career, had, that passion, they are committed to what they're doing on the back end, but for themselves, it's like there's no commitment there because they're just not willing to trust themselves or the next person because of whatever bad relationship they've been in the past. Now, I know that there's some people out there who definitely gone through some things, and it's left them heartbroken, feeling as though they can't even get into the next relationship because of what they had from before was like perfect, and then it broke. Whoever broke it, somebody broke it. Now they're hurt, and now they're displaying this I don't care attitude, like whatever. You're just gonna leave me like the last one did anyway.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not what I signed up for. Maybe we can have a discussion. And I can only say that because I went through it. And it was really tough. And I had my own issues I dealt with on my end as well. And then getting back to that person was just like, this is not gonna work. I'm gonna have to break up with us for you. So I love myself way too much to sit in this and wallow in this. So let me do us a favor and just go ahead and break this off. And we could be friends. And if you don't want to be friends, oh well, bye. Keep it moving.
Yeah. Liz, you cutthroat. Okay. So,
that's
but
coming out. That's
I'm not
when
young.
That's how y'all do in New York.
When you think about it, though, like when you're dating, oftentimes you are going to come across somebody who has come from a broken relationship. And that's just a part of their history, that's a part of them. So they operate in that, naturally from that broken state. And, I mean, two broken people, when they come together, it's a possibility you can work it out, but like we're talking about commitment, it just depends on how committed you are to that person. Because if people have the capacity to help people heal from their brokenness. If you are committed to being there through all of that, like you stick with somebody long enough, you'll grow through some things and you'll get over some things. But if you are not committed to this person's growth or your own in that sense, no, it's not going to work. But I think it just depends on how much you value, like, the good and the bad. You have to weigh what the relationship brings to you in order to say, okay, this is something that I'm willing to work through. I'll be patient with you as you grow, or get over your hurt.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So with that being said, we're going to transition to the next question. So it goes a little something like this. When I think of the word commitment, I think of these two words. And so you're supposed to fill in the blank on what those two words are. So when you think of the word commitment, what are two words that come to your mind?
I'm sorry. Look, I was about to explode earlier. I was like, I want to talk so bad. I'm trying not to wait. I think when it comes to commitment, I say the first word probably median. The middle ground. It kind of ties back to what everybody was talking about earlier. And even what you said about your grandparents and how they stayed together for what you say about 52 years. We also got to think that those past relationships were, and I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but they're a lot more abusive. Fathers were, dads were beating on the mom a lot of the times, and the mom would say, I can speak about my grandparents and knowing that and finding out that later, that unfortunately, women took a lot. They dealt with a whole lot of cheating, a whole lot of lying, a whole lot of abuse, everything. And then now, as the time went, it's less of that. You're not putting up with none of that bull. So of course, breaks those committed relationships of staying together because I'm not letting you put your hands on me. I'm not letting you do that. And now to the day of being extremely free and having your entanglements and situationships so you can find your happiness when you really need to find, the happiness within yourself. You got to find that medium of understanding, what you can deal with in life, with that other person, with your significant other. So I feel like median is my first word. And I think my second word would be happiness. You have to be happy with yourself first. You got to love yourself. You got to be fully happy with yourself before you can really be happy within a relationship. And you got to know what makes you happy. You got to know what you need in a relationship. And you got to be able to be 100% before you can even be within a relationship to give a percentage of yourself. I created this video called the 25-75 rule, which is, I believe in a relationship, you're 75% selfless and 25% selfish. And I say that because usually everything that you need to be happy can, it's a cup full. And if you should be running, if the cup should be running over, by the significant other who should be giving you everything, anything that you desire, so you can feel like you don't even need to be worried about yourself. You're over here paying attention to the other person. So again, that 25% overflowed with that 75 allows you to give that 75% to them and flow over in their 25% of selfishness. So median and happy are my two words.
Man, he just shut that down.
Yeah.
I've been dying to talk. I'm like, you know what? I'm really trying to hold it on. Just trying to hold on to it. I don't want to be a hog.
Oh, that's amazing. I wasn't expecting those two words. That's good. Jerome, what are your two?
Mine is not that extensive. Mine is just pretty much all in. When you think of commitment, all in. You give yourself in commitment. I think about, once again, I always go back to career. I go back to relationships, not only, relationships, platonic relationships, but like friendships. I think back of, all of my friends could possibly tell you that I'm a very loyal person. It does not matter what the situation is. I always find myself in that loyal seat of always, that's just who I am, and I mean, it's hard to tell you, we've been friends almost 20 years now. And yeah, we have fallen outs, we had disagreements, but yeah, then still, there's always that connection, so it's like all in, you committed. Mr. Carter said, I think Liz said this earlier, with the friendships, like, you're going to see people go through bad moments and everything. And like when they need you, when they don't need you. But the fact when you have built connections and relationships with people that you don't talk to for months and months at a time, but when you talk to them again, you pick up right where you left off. So it's like, you're committed to those, even though it's not a daily communication or things like that, but you're still committed to, I know if they need me, I'm still one phone call away. So it's like, all in. Those are my two words, all in. Just give yourself.
I'm loving this. I started a watch party and I have somebody who said trust and patience.
Mm-hmm.
Trust and patience.
Very necessary for, longevity. If you're going to stick with somebody, or if you plan on sticking with them for a long time, you definitely have to have trust. And patience is something that I pray for every day because it's needed with people's, changing moods, their situation change, they change, finances change, whatever. I mean, you just have to really know how to stick in there. But since I have the floor, I'm just go ahead and give you my two. And my two words are just staying together. Like when you are committed to something, that just lets you know automatically, to me, that you're there, like you're staying. Even when it comes to committing to yourself, just sticking to the things that you say that you were going to do, like, working out, as we talk about all the time, just being committed to yourself and knowing, okay, I can't give up on me now because this is something that I want. This is something that I need to do. This is something, that I need for me. So just being able to, stay together, stick it out. That's what I think about when it comes to commitment.
Wow. So we got somebody saying, don't sacrifice yourself to make someone else happy. You'll be so unhappy.
Yep.
And she's one of our seasoned viewers. I love her. Yes. Wow. Okay, Liz.
I think my 2 would be what I'm learning as I get a little older and older and older. Communication
Mm-hmm.
and I can't even being skeptic on this end, but communication and being very honest. Um, the truth lies within your communication. And I
Yeah.
think that when people tend to veer off and like, you know, beat around the bush to what their real point is, that's when we start to think like, where's your commitment at it? Because if you can't tell me the truth and you can't communicate the truth, something's off.
Right.
And I'm not saying that everybody's perfect because I'm not perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have something that we fall back on, or then that we tend to, you know, kind of bundle ourselves into that fetal position and be like, oh, like I'm a child again. And I don't know what to say, and you know what may come out my mouth may not be the right way because
Yeah.
I am I am that. It's not what you said, it's how you say it, type of thing. So I have to think very consciously as to what it is that I'm telling the next person, and really get my message clear and across the board, and understanding that you can relay that back to me. And what I wasn't doing was allowing that person to relay it back to me so that I know that they got the message as to what I was saying and getting it back. And I think I need to do that more with the person doing it to me as well, and vice versa.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna be real quick, and I'm gonna say giving grace. I talk about it a lot. I think one thing that we sometimes do, when we do it unconsciously sometimes, is that we compare relationships. And so you can't compare one relationship with the other. It's not fair. And giving that person grace to grow into the being that they are with you in that relationship. So understanding that it takes 2 to grow and to evolve when you're in a relationship with somebody. So, you know, one thing that I'm learning is expectations, not to have them. Not to have them, because they'll let you down every time, when you put expectations on a person, because they're growing and evolving just like you're growing and evolving. So giving yourself that grace in that room to grow and evolve into the people that you've been designed to be, and that you're growing together to be. Especially when you're talking about dating somebody and you guys are looking to become one, or you guys are one. There's going to be moments when they're going to get on your nerves. Give them grace. There are going to be moments when you get on your own nerves. Give yourself grace. There's going to be times where the situation is going to be irking and frustrating. And, you know, you're going to have to come together with a clear mind and figure out how to overcome these hurdles together. And so grace is needed to be able to accept the flaws of one another, because nobody's perfect. Anybody anything? I know Levi, he nodded his head. He wants to say something. Come on, Levi.
No, I love it. I think I love everybody's points. I feel like that everything just kind of just hit, you know. Especially the communication one. I was like, man, I was like, that's in there. That's deep. That's a deep one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna move on to the next question. This one's pretty deep, Liz. How is commitment measured and kept alive spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally? How is commitment measured and kept alive spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally? I'm going to read it one more time for the people in the back of the church. How is commitment measured and kept alive spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally?
Yeah.
Look, we all stuck like.
I guess the way I would say it is, I feel like you should start with your love language. I feel like a lot of people don't know what their love language is first, and then when they don't know what their love language is, they don't know how to express the kind of love, the kind of attention, the kind of relationship that they would like. And I mean, you know, in any relationship, it's a learning process. So when you meet somebody, the energy is great. You know, your spirits may intertwine, you know, and that's awesome. But after that, after the infatuation part, that 30, 60, 90 days, then it's like, all right, so who are you really? You know, like what are, what does your closet look like? What does your bathroom look like? Some of these bathrooms be looking real dirty. Are you organized or are you chaotic? Like, how do you deal with stress? Like, there's things that a lot of people don't know about each other, so those questions come. But one of those questions should definitely be, what are your love languages? Most people don't know. So then it's like, okay, what are the 5 love languages? And when you realize that you are a huge gifts person, or active service, or words of affirmation, or touch, or whatever it is that whatever one that you like, or that your top 2 is, then it's time to explain that. I feel like every person is all 5, for sure. I feel like every person is all 5. It's a more of a pie chart, if you will. Like, which one of those 2, are your biggest ones? And from there, that's what you have to explain. And then you go into detail. I love to go on picnics. I love to go hiking, or I love to eat, different things. Take me to I don't care if it's the food truck down the street that I ain't never been before. Take me to the food truck so I can taste them tacos. All right. And some people are gifts. Some people love gifts, and I think some are valued, or certain things. And I think from there, you kind of start to realize how to give to that other person, but also how to mix in your love language. And so myself, I know for a fact that I'm a touch and gift person. Like, I like gifts, I just do. But so if I'm going to give my version of a present, I'm not going to buy a person a watch that I know they really don't care about the watch. They would probably rather me make a watch out of wood because of the acts of service, and let's go out to eat. And then I made this for you. And then, oh my God, now they're all in love and they're all bubbly. And then I'll mix a little bit of myself in there. I went ahead and bought this too, just so I could share something with you so you can understand. And so I feel like that's the best way to measure, if you will, and to maintain and do the upkeep. Is just keep speaking through those love languages and understanding each other. I feel like that's the ultimate version of showing that you truly care, is by understanding how that person receives love and care and feelings and so on.
That's good.
I agree.
I'm done.
Jerome, what you got?
I'm just thinking along the lines, like, how to measure. Just thinking, like, we're all in our 30s. Once again, the same things I liked when I was in my teenage years, I didn't like in my 20s. The things I didn't like in my 20s, I liked in my 30s. So it's just like that learning, as you said, learning your love language, but also learning yourself. It's the saying that my dad used to always say: you find out more about a person when you break up with them than you did when you were with them. So like I said, those uncomfortable conversations. Right? Well, I mean, but it's true. If you think back about it, like, you really, you find out more about a person once it's over than you did when you were with them, because like, you find out who, as Levi said, you find out who people really are as time progresses. Like, we give the people, when we're learning people, in the first 60, 90 days, you're giving them their representative. You're giving them, okay, what do you like? Okay, so I'm going to try to be everything that you tell me you like. And you literally, when you get to know people, you find out a lot about yourself. Are you willing to buckle? Are you willing to be who you are? And I think that's where a lot of the commitment issues come in, because you're giving who you're not and not who you really are. When it's time to commit, you're committed to this person that you think that, them expectations. You're committed to their expectations, but not who you really are. So how to measure those things is just, just be who you are from Jump Street. And I think that's what the reason behind a lot of our grandparents and, aunts and uncles that are older, their relationships sometimes being a success because they didn't have as many distractions as we have as millennials and young generations.
Social media.
I mean, it is what it is. You learn to love who you were with, no matter what, because as you said earlier, if I'm not happy at home, I can go find something to make me happy outside of home. But back then, you didn't have the distractions. This is what made me happy. I made my vow. I stuck to it, for better, for worse. Even though it was 90% worse, I still stuck to my word. That's that we lack commitment because we have too many options as people right now, I believe. So how to measure that? Just be, one thing. Once again, I I would hear my dad and them say these sayings when I was younger. I'm like, man, go on somewhere with that. But the older I get, the more I realize. My dad will always say, at the end of the day, all you got is your word.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that, when I tell people, okay, I'm gonna go places, and I'm like laying around like I really don't want to go, but all I hear in the back of my mind, all you have is your word. At the end of the day, if you say you're gonna do something, go ahead and do it, even if you don't want to give 100%. So that's why I go back to that all in, because at the end of the day, if you're committed to something, you have to stick it out. At the end of the day, in my profession, the kids don't care how I feel. I can have the roughest of the roughest day, but when I hit that door, I have to be that consistent Mr. Johnson for them.
Mm-hmm.
My coworkers, they have learned, we learned each other to the point that when I'm not who I am, they be like, okay, you're not yourself. Let's go have this powwow because we got to get on it. So, it's that just commitment to who you are, and just making sure that you, fully, you got it. And I think that's how you measure, take measure of, your commitment.
Yeah. This is a good one. This makes you think. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, this is loaded, Liz.
like, right, super loaded. And I'm like, dang, I'm still on the kept alive part. Hold on. So I think one of the things that I think about is self-checks. And y'all are saying some good stuff. Just the whole, I hate to even say this, but I think about Steve Harvey and that whole, 90-day rule, and who do you get the first 90 days, and you get a representative of who this person really is. 9 times out of 10, they saying the right things, blah, blah, blah. And then day 91, it's like, who are you? Hold on.
Please.
Hold on. I didn't sign up for this here.
My life.
So I guess for me, one of the things that keeps coming to my mind when we talk about keeping it alive is, in order to keep something alive, you have to continuously do an evaluation on it. So continuously, self-check yourself to see, am I this person that I say that I am? Am I falling to the right or falling to the left because this is who they want me to be? But I know that I can't add up to who they want me to be. I can only stay true to who I am. And if they don't like me, they can kick rocks with an open-toe shoe, especially when it's in the game, you can do that. When you get a year in of something, you might be able to, but after that year and a half, you really start thinking especially us and millennials, there's not much. Oh, there's plenty of fish in the sea, in the water, in the ocean, and the whatever. No, there ain't. No, there's a drought.
A polluted sea.
There's a drought going on, a huge one, a huge drought going on. So I know for me, I'm learning that whole laundry list of he has to be this, that, third, that's fictitious, and really keeping alive of who I am and who I desire in my mate. I think God did a really good job with my significant other. And I know he's watching. So I had to say that. I hate to say that.
Go ahead and plug it. Go ahead and plug it then.
But doing self checks and keep figuring out me, being real. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. But giving him his room to grow and giving myself room to grow, and making sure that I'm honoring me and standing up in who I am every day, which comes with a challenge. Sometimes I don't want to be me because the weight of me is heavy. To be honest, the weight of my assignments are heavy. I wear it well, but sometimes I just want to lay in the bed all day. Watch Lifetime movies all day. I can't do that all the time, So just being committed to showing up to the relationship with your game face and your equipment, and being armed every day, because you don't know what's going to happen within your relationship. And being, real and transparent is one of the best things that you can ever do. When you hurt my feelings, and this is how. Okay, so how are we going to work through this? I don't like what's going on right here. I'm not sounding like a baby. I'm just being real. So how are we going to work through this? Because for me, for a long time, I wouldn't say a word in my relationship. I would just let things fester because I felt like I would always be nagging about things. But then when I realized, you ain't my mate. You ain't the one I'm supposed to be with. That's why I'm unhappy. And that's why I'm always seeing all that. Look, Jerome, we've been friends for 20 years. You know the Negroes that I've went through. Hey,
talk to somebody else's husband.
If you don't know, nobody else know. I'm just saying. So yeah, just being real with yourself and saying, you know what, I need to keep self-checking myself so I can be the best me, and then show up as the best me in my relationship, show up as the best me in my personal business, show up as the best me when I'm coaching, consulting. But you can't do that if you don't continue to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, we flawed today. What we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just being real, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
True.
Facts.
True.
What about you, Isha?
Right.
I 100% agree with what Takara was saying. It's just like, showing up as your real full self and not having so many expectations for the other person, because you can't expect something that you are not, and you can't expect to receive something that you're not equipped to give. So just, making sure you hold up your end of the bargain. And even when you don't show up to the table, your full self, full force, and just ready to go, just, have that understanding with your partner to, just have that grace and that patience with you. We all need that. We're not going to be 100% ourselves every day. So just having that understanding, and holding yourself accountable to the things that you need to do. Because a lot of times we look to our partners, like Levi was saying, for happiness and to make us happy, and for other things that, we can only find within ourselves. So just showing up, as you committed to your part of the relationship, I think that's really how you can kind of measure those things, because and communication as well, because you mentioned spiritually, emotionally, if you're not having those conversations about, what it is that you require spiritually, emotionally, how can you expect that other person to be committed to you in that sense? So there is really no way to measure if you don't have those conversations. And I think that's what we kind of skate over. I think we just expect things to happen, in relationships. And when they don't, we end up being disappointed. But you can't just set unspoken expectations for another person. It doesn't work like that. You end up getting disappointed every time. So just, showing up. Right, showing up with no expectations and being honest, putting yourself and your stuff out on the table. Say, this is me. This is what I have to offer. The other person is supposed to be able to build you. What you lack, they are supposed to, pour into you, and vice versa.
Part.
So, that's how you can show your commitment, mentally, spiritually, all those things within that relationship. It's just like showing up and being there for yourself and for the other person.
With that being said, we're going to end this segment with your question to the influencer.
So silly.
What is the fine print of commitment? What? Oh, that face, Levi. What is the fine print of commitment? Go ahead. That's a good one.
We not ready.
I'll try to keep it in. I'll be trying to keep it up. Like, what is the fine print? Man, that's all these questions have so many answers. I'm like, all right, let me kind of pick one answer and then go from there. I just feel like within the fine print of commitment, it's a fine print of a relationship. It just depends on that person, whether it's the conversations, the actions, the sex. Sex is big. And I know I said sex shit. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Sex is big in a relationship. All right, I've been trying to hold off on that. I can't let it out. I can't.
You're married. You can say that. You're married.
Sex is big on a relationship. That's in the fine print. That's you know what I'm saying? All different in different languages. Of course, communication, your temper. That's a big one, because some people are quick to get mad and some people are slow. But even if you're slower, what's that range? Because a lot of people grow up different. So whether you're growing up with your parents in your face, yelling at you, pointing at you, punching walls, maybe domestic violence, things of that nature. How much of that have you taken on? Some people can't break that chain. They don't know how to break it yet. They haven't been through therapy. They haven't been able to self-reflect. They haven't been able to really talk to their spirit. So temper is a huge thing. Physical touch is one. I can keep going. I don't want to. I'll keep going. Yeah, I mean, we could. Yeah, somebody can cut me off. But I'll keep adding different ones to it.
I think that
You got it.
yeah, you do got it. I think that a lot has to do with your senses as well. You know, we were given two eyes, we were given one mouth, we were given two ears for purpose on that end. And really applying and using those senses is really going to allow you to see the person for who they are, because they show you unintentionally who they are, or intentionally, whichever, who they are. And you need to just listen with a quiet ear without speaking up too much. And let them be who they are, because that person is going to come out in some way or form. Because a lot of people like to be on the sneak, okay? And I'm not saying everybody is. A lot. There's a lot though, because you know they're playing that player tendency, or you know they think that they're running game on you, or whatever the case may be. And you tend to trip or slip into saying who exactly you are, and you need to pay attention to those subtleties, like body language. The ones that don't speak that loud, the quiet ones, are the ones you need to pay attention to, because the ones that are loud, they're typically just trying to camouflage for something. But the ones that are actually telling you exactly who they are, that's what you need to listen to. You need to pick up on those cues, and it has a lot to do with what is the message that you're trying to put out there? That I'm, one, way too shy, two, I'm extra loud and you gonna know it. But I mean, what does that really mean? Because there's, and can you handle that too? Because I've been one of those people where it's like, okay, all right, this is who I am. Yeah, I'm loud because my family doesn't, if you're not loud with my family, you can't get no word in, then that's the problem. But we need to really take that time out and really listen to the body cues and to what you're really saying on that end, and it makes a lot more sense. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. That does make sense. Because a lot of people try to hide out in the open, and think that people don't see the little things, like you said, the sneaky things that they try to do. But just because we don't say, don't mean we don't see. And that's my thing on that. But just to kind of piggyback off of what Levi was saying, as far as those, like the childhood traumas, I think that is something that's written in the fine print of commitment, because that's something that we don't see. Those are the things that we don't know about. And then they become uncovered in the relationship as different situations arise. So we're dealing with, that child who got beat all the time, or you didn't get hugged enough, or you didn't get a chance to express yourself, and now it's coming out in these different ways. So just learning how to deal with that. We all have it. It's not just like, oh, this person is crazy because they react this way. No, we all have childhood trauma that we deal with. So it's just in the different ways that we deal with them and how they uncover, are unveiled in the relationship. And I think that's something that you have to be prepared to be committed to. It's just like the other person getting over those things. Like I was saying before, you're not going to come together with somebody. If you do, you're lucky. But coming together with someone who's like completely whole and healed from everything, they don't have any issues or, whatever, that doesn't happen often. So coming together with another person, you have to understand that there are some things that are not going to be pretty, that some things that are not going to be attractive, that you're not going to like about this person. But if you are committed, like you say you are, then these are some of the things that you'll have to learn to deal with or help them heal or get over. So just that, the underlying things, I think, are what's written in the fine print when you say, okay, we're together, we're in a relationship, I'm committed to you. That's what I got.
I would say similar to what Liz said, like it's the cues, it's the things that the person don't say that you need to really pay attention to. It's those things. And when you try it in the fire, I mean, what you're made of is bound to come out. So those, it plays like the traumatic situations growing up, like, the model relationships that you saw. Like, I know a lot of women, and, this is not demeaning women, but, they've seen their parents, fight, and their fathers hit their mom, or their boyfriends hit their mom, and all that stuff. And that's what they see. If he doesn't hit me, he don't love me. So it's like things like that where, you see, and it becomes a model behavior. And, those are the things like, yeah, I mean, it's the fine print, but you don't want the next guy to hit you, but you sit out here dating a thug. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I'm just being honest, but that's we look for these things, and we look for similar people that we dated, and it's just like you expect, it's insanity. You're expecting a different result, but doing the same exact thing. So just the fine print thing is like, just make sure that discernment was one. I know you didn't say discernment, but it's one of the things that I look for. I can discern if a person has the capacity to handle my healing. I mean, we don't talk about it as men a lot, but we heal through things as well. We hurt, but we were taught, once again, to be macho and never let no one see you sweat. But at the end of the day, we're working through healing as well. So when I'm looking, and you can engage in conversations like, yeah, she don't have the capacity to handle me, or they don't have the capacity to handle me. And I knew that with my ex, when it was just like, we were just having challenges. It was like, well, I work this, I got this, I got that. And I was like, well, you don't need me then. I mean, because that, it was like a competition, and it's just like, I realized after the fact, once again, as I said earlier, you find out more about a person and yourself when you break up with someone, because, her father, her mother did the same exact thing. It was like who could bring the most money home. It was like an inward competition. So that's what she was looking for, in that fulfillment of, I'm finna compete with him. And it's like, yeah, your competition was just too much for me, and I just bowed out and gave you the floor. But I mean, you got it. What you need me for? So it's just like, my friends is like, if you're trying to compete with me and not, compliment or allowing me to compliment you, that's definitely a deal breaker. Like, yeah, the man is supposed to, the way I was raised, supposed to help carry the house and do all this other good stuff, but we have the whole, Destiny Child, independent woman movement. I get that, get your coins, get all that, but allow me to be a man in the process. And I'm done.
Respect on my name.
Right. So when I think of fine print, I automatically think about, y'all go with me for a minute. So, when they advertise like a medicine that's supposed to heal the world, and then the speaker comes on and really goes really fast to give you all the side effects of everything, you be like, dang, is that good or not? So I think about the fine print being those things that people really don't talk about. It's that underlying thing. It's those things that they might spurt it out if you catch it, if you really have an ear to hear. Their actions might show you these things, but you're like, okay, did that really just happen? And you're sitting here trying to process that. Did they really just do that? No, I'm not seeing that. And so you find yourself questioning, did they say that? Did they really say that? So I
the red flags.
Yeah. Oh, they're the red, yellow, purple, blue, orange.
Flag on play.
But a lot of times we don't. Two things: we don't allow for the flags to speak and give the clear message, because before, when I did that, and it might have been a good thing. So we're like, oh, well, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's me. That's what we always equate back to when the flags are right there. Oh, well, maybe it's me. And I'd be like, no, bro, no, sis, look at them flags again. They right here. You can't miss it. So I gave that analogy because I think about that a lot of times, where we think that the solution is this thing right in front of us. And what we really need to start doing is reading the fine print and being more aware of the fine print and really tuning into what that person is saying, what they're doing, so we can really come to our own truth and understand, how to interact with this person, how to give this person, how to nurture this person, how to support this person. Is this someone I really want to deal with? Because we do have that option. Before you get married, you do have that option. Before you get married, you do have that option. To really figure out if that's something you really want to deal with. So the flags are there literally as a warning sign, and a lot of times we don't take heed of the warning. We want everything to be Romeo and Juliet and all these fairy tales that don't exist. And we want, the story that everybody told us that we can have, that a lot of times doesn't exist either. So embracing the reality of your situation and your relationship and seeing it and evaluating, is this something you really want to deal with? Does this compromise any of your standards as the individual and the person that you are? Knowing these signs, is it something that can be worked through, or is this something that you can't help them work through? Because I mean, if we're talking about being helpmates, there are some things that they need to work through themselves, but we can be a support. So you have to choose if you want to be a support to something that they're going through. And you know, we live in selfish times. Some people, it's always me, 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 me. And when you're in a relationship with somebody, that goes out the window to a certain standard. We're really talking about being with somebody and being in a true committed relationship. Yes, self-care is important. You are supposed to be aware of what you need, but it ain't always about you either. And so understanding the fine print of not just the signing the names on the dotted line as as two being one, if that's what you guys are leading up to, but also going back over your own contract as an individual. What do your fine lines look like?
Ask
Can I
yourself.
insert something right quick? Because I had to experience this like maybe a couple months ago myself. When we say self care, I just want to just clarify and like share the wealth of information that I got for myself. Like getting your hair cut, getting your nails done, getting pedicures and manicure, that's not self care. That's
No.
self maintenance. That's something that you do to make sure that you're good. And I think a lot of people equate that to, I'm going to get my nails done. That's not self care, because mentally you're not where you need to be. Self care is something that you do something to help you mentally and not physically. And I think that's what we go wrong as a generation. You know, like we pull away from situations. I'm going to get my nails, my hair done. Yeah, you're beautifying a mess. That's what you're doing, because you're not addressing the issues at hand. And I had to face that myself. I was like, well, I'm gonna go, do this. I'm gonna get my haircut, all this other stuff. And I literally sat there and I got up and I literally like, heard the spirit was like, okay, yeah, you got that, taken care of, but you still didn't, attack this issue at hand. And to me, that was an epiphany, because it was just like, man, we equate to we equate and do so much to the physical, or we really don't. I'm sorry, I speak English. We really don't focus on mental. And as Black men, I mean, especially, everybody, period, now, because of the crazy world we're living in. 2020 has just dropped a whole bunch of mental bombshells on us. But it is important that you stay away from social media. It's important that you just actually get moments to yourself, pray, sit there. I know me personally, I love sitting in the dark, no music, just sitting there, just really fleshing my thoughts out. But you have to do things like that to just remain sane, like, because you find yourself in situations, over repeat situations, because you're not taking time to address these things. So I would just definitely want to put that out there. Yeah, getting your hair cut, getting your nails done, getting all that, hair done and everything. That's self-maintenance. That's not self-care. Find something that makes you happy, bring you peace. That's what you would consider self-care. But that's it. I'm sorry. Side note.
No, don't apologize. Somebody needed to hear that. But I know after this conversation, a lot of people are going to reevaluate their relationships and just see, their level of commitment and their fine prints and all that good stuff. So this conversation has been really good. But
so with that being said, we're gonna transition. Go ahead.
So we are transitioning to my Love for Real segment really quickly. I just wanted to bring up some points about commitment, as we all have hit on some of the things that I was going to talk about as usual. But just to kind of put some things in perspective. So when it comes to relationships, we pretty much all want a commitment. I don't think we'll get in a relationship for any other reasons. I don't know. If you do, that's your business. I don't know. But anyway, but we often just assume that the other person, like, we know what commitment means. And the major theme around commitment is like, don't cheat and be exclusive to the relationship. And we think that covers everything. But it really doesn't. So, and even people struggle with that part. So they get caught up in defining like what is cheating, and you get lost in the rabbit hole of that. And then everything else kind of bypasses you as it pertains to like most of the things that we covered in the discussion when it comes to commitment. So getting caught up in that theme and just not really seen what it actually takes to be committed in a relationship. So I was doing some research on the topic, and a guy mentioned that you have to have a vision in mind for your relationship. So you have to know where it is that you intend to go with your relationship to understand, what you're being committed to, what type of committed is required for where you're trying to take your relationship. So if you're in it for a good time and not a long time, then you're not really concerned with, committing to things that will contribute to the longevity of the situation. But like I said, we mostly go into situations blindly and just expecting our partners to be on the same page as we are when it comes to commitment. Just because there are some things that you won't do doesn't mean your partner is on the same page. So you cannot bypass that conversation and just say, okay, we have the understanding. These are the things that I won't do, because they will surprise you every time. But if you're not having conversations about commitment, if you have not had it, I don't care if you've been married for 10 years and you still haven't had the conversation, this is a conversation that should be had just to, kind of solidify what it is that you guys have and what you're working towards, and probably ease some of the worries and anxieties you have around your relationship. It can all be alleviated with a conversation. So some of the questions that I think that should be brought up within this conversation is, one, just kind of clarify what your vision is for your relationship. Like, where do you see it going? A lot of people don't even realize that you have to have a vision, in general, but especially as it pertains to your relationship. When you think of, just having a purpose, like, why are we together? A lot of people don't even question it. It's just say, okay, you look good, I look good, I like you, you like me, we together. And that's just it. But no, there is a lot more that goes into relationships. So just, having a conversation and clarifying what your vision is and where you see your relationship going, and discussing some deal breakers. Like, a lot of times we don't even bring that up. Like, what is something that you just will not tolerate that's like a complete deal breaker for you? We just kind of blindly walk into situations and it's just like, all right, I don't tolerate this, we breaking up. If you would have had that conversation before, it may have helped the situation. That's not a guarantee either, just depending on who you're dealing with. But just discussing those deal breakers to see, what it is that, your level of tolerance will allow you to tolerate in that situation. And the third thing is, I would say, just as an exercise, give hypotheticals. None of this is guaranteed, but just put your partner in that hypothetical situation. Let's say if this happened, what would you do? Now, I know a lot of times you can't really say if you've never been in that situation, but situations will come. So just to kind of be prepared, or just to know, where your partner's mind is around that particular situation at that particular moment, because things do change. But just having those healthy conversations around certain things. I think a lot of times, in relationships after so long, we don't even have anything to talk about most of the time. So it's a lot of things that you guys haven't hit on. And if your partner struggles with talking about your relationship, I think that's a red flag within itself. Is just like, are they really committed to, growing? Because after so long, you can't continue to do the same thing. You have to want to grow within your relationship. So just, being prepared for certain situations that arise, given those hypotheticals, what would you do in this situation? I think that will really help. And yeah, that wraps up my Love for Real segment. If you love your person for real, you will be committed to all of them, not just, you look good, I look good, we gonna be together, and then things happen and then it all falls apart. So that's my segment.
Love it. I love it.
I'm weak because people literally do that. Like, yo, I'm fly, you fly, we fly, let's do this. Like, what?
Right.
Man, it's been a great show. Levi Lawrence III, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy night. Thank your wife for us, because I know, wifey time is important too.
Look, she on here.
She watching.
She watching. She Ariana Trey. She was one of the people that posted.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, babe.
Yeah, hey, Mom.
Okay.
Right. I love that. I love that she supports like that. That's so dope. Look, your wife has a special place in my heart, anyways, because look, the content you put out there, man.
Like it took her a while. She was like, all right, you know what? She's like, just block out my family first. Just block them all and let me get used to this. And then once the money started coming in, she was like, all right, now you can bring them back in. You can bring them back in.
She's a soldier, man. She a G.
That's right.
For real, for real. No, so how can people? I believe I created a banner for you. I can't believe Isha. You know, Isha and I were sitting behind the scenes before the show started. And she's like, "Are you loading the show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm loading the show." Totally forgot to put the questions in there. And I never do that. I'm pretty good on that. I'm like, what is going on? But your Instagram is backstage shenanigans. I'm telling you, if they saw some of the things we do backstage, they'd be like, y'all are a hot mess. So Levi, your Instagram name is your whole entire name. Levi Lawrence III. So what you guys see on the screen, you can search literally on Instagram, and you want to find him. Raw Words with Levi. Yeah. And they are indeed raw, from love, relationships, sex, business, Louisiana. He does it all. So definitely follow him on Instagram. Jerome in the house. Thank you so much, bro.
Jerome in the house.
Jerome has been a faithful member of He Said, She Said, They Share since it was the radio show. So we thank you for making the transition with us. And he's my lifelong friend, literally. And I say lifelong because you literally grow up when you go to college. That's when you really experience life. You know, pre-K through high school don't mean nothing. It's when you go to college you experience life. For real. You be like, no mama, no daddy. Like, turn up every Wednesday night. Yes.
Thursday to Monday.
Yeah, man. So thank you, Jerome. You always support Talk and Share. We appreciate you so very much. Levi, this will not be the last time that you are on the show. No, you good. You're vetted in, sir. You're vetted in. So we thank you guys so much.
You have to bring a song. You did not sing us in today.
Y'all give me a chance. Right. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta look. Y'all, you give me my spot, I'll take it all. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's why I was like, let me just be relaxed as I can possibly be. You know,
I see him like double dutch up on here, like, hold on, my turn coming.
Look, your wife, I love her. Yes, girl. Yes. You a soldier. And I love her. This is how you can follow Levi on Instagram. Right there. She's the bomb. Yeah. You know what? Look here. Yeah. She needs to be on the show. We need a segment
with wifey. For sure. Hey, you see what? Look, tap in. I'll share the Instagrams and all that. Y'all make sure that happens.
Yes, we would love that. We can talk. She looks like a fashionista.
She is actually a health and wellness professional. So she has three different businesses. The main one right now is her business called the PCOS method. So she has polycystic ovarian syndrome, and a large percentage of the women in the world suffer from this, but they don't know. So she's one of the PCOS warriors out there that like just helps so many women, and just and she does so much and does consultations and help people. She's actually coming out with her own tea line in regards to reducing stress and calming everybody down. So she has a lot going on. Pre-orders for the tea will be very soon. That's Soul House, SOLHAUS. So you can hit it on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I'm getting ready because this tea. One, I've tasted the tea, and I'm a sweet tea type of person, and for this to not have any extra sugar in it or anything, it really tastes good. Awesome. And it's CBD infused. It's not. She's done her research. Hey, look, she's done her research, and she's really got it down packed, and just her cause behind everything that she does, just for women around the world, and to just help women with the struggle, because it really is a struggle, depression, stress, miscarriages, everything like that, weight gain. And like she helps with all that through her health and wellness journey that she shares. So yeah, y'all definitely gotta tap in with it for sure.
Absolutely. We have a segment that her wellness matters segment that we do now. So that'd be a really good place to fit her in. So you heard the invite.
And hopefully you come on together to kind of show us what it looks like to support, because I love the way that you guys support each other. You're interested and you know about what she does. Like you can sit here and give her a whole spiel, and that lets us know that you are into her and what she does, and vice versa. So I think we need to see a lot more of that unity when it comes to, because a lot of people just want to be separate and do their own things or whatever. Right. So having y'all on together just to kind of let us know a little bit more what that looks like in your relationship, I think that'll be cool.
Absolutely. For sure. Yep. We love it.
Super down.
Well, this is Adult Talks Women Share. We went a little bit over than we normally do, but it was well worth it. 4 Thursdays are super passionate to us. Just being able to have the men and invite them on into our world and talk about matters in the world of relationships that you typically won't find people talking about. So that's what we love about Adult Talks Women Share. So thank you for tuning in, and we're out. See you next week. Peace.